Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Anipop Podcast. Excuse us for not coming out with a new episode last week. Unforeseen stuff happened, so we couldn't get that done. But for this week, we actually have an episode out, and this episode is probably going to be one of our most interesting episodes where we talk about maid cafes. I don't know if a lot of people actually cover this topic. I've seen some people cover this topic, but not a lot. But anyways, I am your host, Jaden Day Zero. I do yonder content, I guess, and stuff like that. And with me is your co-host, the Lucky Duelist, and Maruitsuki. So I'll hand things off to the Lucky Duelist first, and we'll go from there.
Hi guys, it's me again. The Lucky Duelist, aka Ducky, aka the British guy. It's great to be back. This episode's really interesting. Jay messaged us earlier today just to say, do you want to record an episode tonight?
Yeah, it's a last minute thing.
Yeah, this is very last minute. For once he hasn't scripted it, which is the least Jay thing to do. Yeah. This man scripted his own birth. So it's great to be here. This is going to be fun. Over to you, Maru.
Alright. Well, I'm Maruitsuki. I mean, you've already, know about me because I've been in this podcast for my third time now? Well, second time without being a guest. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so second time. But yeah, I'm actually very excited about this topic of maid cafe because both me and Jay were have experience being a part of it. So this is gonna be pretty interesting to see how it goes. So and Ducky, I mean, he's not familiar with maid cafes, so well he is, but he has never really been to one. So
yeah,
I just think of them as human right infringements in Japan.
Oh no, dude, no, you're on point. But okay, so I guess the best way to start this podcast is by or this episode of the podcast is by explaining what a maid cafe is. So basically, for those who don't know what a maid cafe, it's basically culture appropriation in Japan for British maids and butlers and stuff. So Ducky is going to be very I guess he's going to be our historian or informative person because his culture, he's from the culture of that. So but basically in Japan there's these restaurants, I guess you can say restaurants, even though they don't really focus on the food as much, but basically they focus on the service of the people going in and feeling as though they have their own personal maid or sometimes butler. And sometimes they have their own theme where sometimes they could be yaoi stuff, they could be robot maids, or I don't know, some weird stuff. Japan, it's Japan, so they make up their own weird stuff. Yeah,
a robot maid.
Oh yeah, nah, dude, that's so cringy. No, I would never do that. But yeah, so that's basically what a maid cafe is. And they pretty much popularized it. Yeah.
Popularized.
Yeah, I believe around. I don't quote me on this, but I believe around the 90s, either early or late 90s or something like that, because of this maid cafe called At Home Maid Cafe, which me and Maru had to learn a lot about during our endeavors as a maid and butler. We'll totally tell our story later, but just so you know. And that's where it all started in Akihabara, which is basically a electric town, but it's actually just a little district, or just basically a little strip of road in Japan. I'm pretty sure everybody's already familiar with it. Now it's like a anime / video game street with lots of buildings with hundreds of floors and stuff of just anime and manga and all that kind of stuff. So
I guess you could say it's not shocking to the audience anymore.
Is that an electricity pun?
Yeah.
We laughed at
wow.
things when he said it's the electric
I
tone.
was waiting.
Anyway,
wow.
So according to Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, the first permanent maid cafe, Kua Maid Cafe, was established in Akihabara, Tokyo, Japan in March 2001. All the good stuff happened in 2001. I happened in 2001.
Was
maid
it?
cafes are becoming increasingly popular.
Wait, was it at Cure? I thought it was like at home.
According to Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, it was Cure Maid Cafe.
Huh, that's interesting.
We were lied to. I knew it.
Yeah. I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
whatever. It's whatever. That thing that they taught us was like pretty crusty. So, so yeah. What Ducky said, he pretty much I guess it's at Cure. That was the first maid cafe. So I don't know. I don't really know much about them, but I guess because of that, everybody started, or the otaku culture became going to a maid cafe and stuff in Japan, and like getting your own personal cute maids and stuff serve you food.
They're all like uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
they look like places you would want to eat.
Yeah, but the whole point is like, because Japan is so, just the culture over there is like, there's so many incels and like, boys or guys that that are afraid to talk to girls. It creates this cultural thing where they prefer to go to a maid cafe rather than actually go talk to a girl or something like that, because they feel lonely. And that's why you get so many, I guess, like, I don't know, services like rent a girlfriend or rent a cuddle buddy, or I don't know, some
cuddle buddy.
Yeah,
Cuddle
dude,
buddy.
that exists. That exists for some reason.
Like the teacher from Persona 5,
Yeah.
who was a rentable cuddle buddy.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild, man.
Yeah, it's crazy over there, but that's just how it is, I guess.
It's just how it be.
I
Yeah.
kind of heard when like all of that kind of got popular and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
I don't know. It's pretty interesting to kind of think about that you could just rent a person to just date.
So, a strange question.
Mhm.
When did you first discover what a maid cafe was?
Oh boy.
I have a weird answer, but I want to hear
You
yours
want to go first, Jay, or?
Yeah, I can go first. So for me, it would have to be in, I believe, video games. I forgot what game. Either a video game or no, actually, scratch that. It's not video games. It's anime. Because of Koichio wa Maid-sama, or it's like it's a very, very popular anime show. It's very old, but it's very popular. It's basically like a shoujo anime kind of thing. But yeah, I think it was through that one. Was the first show. That, and I guess a little bit of Ouran High School Host Club, because it's not really a maid, but it's like host kind of stuff.
If you look up Maid Cafe on Wikipedia, it recommends you look at the page for Maid Sama as well. So
yeah. So that's probably where. What about you, Maru?
Well, for me, I probably would say that my first encounter with it or something similar would be like Ouran Host Club, which is the first thing that kind of like came to my mind when I found out about like maid cafes. But the cafe that we were a part of and stuff, I actually ended up kind of like, well, I kind of ended up hearing about another maid cafe at a convention where we live, and that was like about like a couple years back before actually finding the cafe that I ended up joining. And I kind of saw it in a little the guidebook that they have at cons and stuff, and it was like, oh, go to a maid cafe, blah blah, like have fun, food, and all that stuff. And I don't remember what cafe it was, but I just knew that I was kind of interested in it. And then I also thought to myself, like, I wonder what it would be like to be, a maid in a cafe. But I never actually considered myself to be a part of one. And I never thought that I would be in the situation to actually be a part of, an actual like cafe and stuff. So that's pretty interesting. But I ended up touching back on that the maid cafe stuff later on, like a few years back, because I was working at a convention and I actually ended up running into your cafe before I joined it. And then later on I ended up finding out that they were like looking for maids and butlers, and so that's like how I ended up joining the cafe later on, and then meeting Jay. So it's pretty interesting.
My first encounter with a Maid cafe was really strange. Do you remember? I think it was last week or the week before I told you about that show about the like football team where the video game has them all dubbed in really weird British accents.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So in the first like game or first season of the show,
Mm-hmm.
there was there's like a team called, in English they're called Otaku Junior High. And their like base of operations is a Maid cafe, and they're all like losers who spend their days like reading manga, building figures and stuff. And they're really bad because they do like really dumb tricks, like replace the ball with a watermelon.
What?
The first time I learned about a Maid cafe was that show when they went to a Maid cafe to find a football team.
I need to watch this. I need to know what this is.
Yeah, same. I need to put that on my bucket list.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
have a bucket list for anime, bro.
yeah, I do. I have a
Wouldn't
long
it be like
list.
watch list?
Yeah, I guess they're kind of the same thing. Yeah, technically.
If it's trash, it's a bucket list.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, so I guess that's our experiences with maid cafes in general. I don't know.
Our first encounter, I would say.
Yeah, our first encounter and stuff. What about impression?
Oh. Ducky, do you want to start with that, or?
My first impression of a Maid cafe was just like, I was really young when I found out what it was, so I thought it was just like a normal cafe. But then, like, I was like, oh, this is just how Japan does cafes. But then, like, as I sort of grew up, learned more about them, I thought, like, these are probably really bad. Because I remember I watched a YouTube video, I can't remember what video it was, but there was a video of someone, like, going to one.
Mm-hmm.
And it just looked, like, shady. Like, the sort of place you wouldn't want to go.
Wow. It's bringing back flashbacks.
Like, they're all really, like, the permanent ones in Japan are really weird, like, weirdly placed for, like, where they are.
Interesting.
I don't know. What about you guys?
Well, for me, my first impression was, it does seem kind of shady at first, because it makes me wonder, like, oh, like, I don't know what they do and stuff, but most of the ones that I've seen, well, it depends, because some of them, they look pretty innocent and stuff. They are pretty innocent, and it's just basically like, you know, like spending time with this stranger and just like handing food, doing like dances and stuff like that. And it's nothing bad. It's like just entertainment, pretty much. Other ones get a little spicy.
Oh yeah,
and get like they're more on the very naughty side.
Yes, risque, as some people like to say. Yeah.
Do I want to know about this?
Yeah, so I mean, that was my first kind of impression. It was either good, or it was as in like innocent, or it was like too risque. So that was my.
Yeah, for me,
so it's like no between.
Oh, what were you saying, Ducky?
So there's like no in between it being really like adult and really innocent.
Yeah, I would say
one or the other. There's no in between.
Yeah, there actually is an in between, which we'll probably touch on like later on as we explain our more of an experience. But for me, I don't really have an impression, honestly, because like I guess for my impression, that was like, oh, it kind of, I guess you can say it's kind of like yours, Ducky, where it's like, oh, it's a maid cafe. Okay. Probably your first impression as you were a kid when you first saw it, probably like, oh, it's a maid cafe. Oh, okay, cool. I guess it's Japan. They're weird. That's fine. That's pretty much how my impression was. But as I got into it, the whole thing, and started doing it as a job, I guess it's like it changed drastically. Now I see it a different way. So I guess that's a good way to go into I don't know, like how we got into it. because for those who don't know, for the listeners who don't know, me and Maru actually are or have experience of being a maid and butler. So, well, I'm butler and she a maid, not like the other way around or whatever.
A maid.
Yeah, totally. But we actually worked as a maid, like actually got paid to do to become a maid and butler, which is weird because in America or probably the UK or in just the West in general, you would never see that kind of stuff, like Japanese culture, like maid and butler cafes or whatever on this side of the world, because that's just not how we are. Because when we think of maid cafes, kind of like what Maru talked about, people think of, oh, what is this, like a brothel or some kind of like where they do naughty services for you or something like that, or like NSFW. And this is what the kind of like the general public thinks when they think of a maid cafe, because these girls are in kind of like dresses that are kind of short and stuff. Well,
they're in little cute outfit things.
Yeah, and there's like perverted thoughts, and people think of that it's for like those kinds of stuff, when in actuality in Japan it's like this happy cartoony kind of vibe place, but because it's real people, it's kind of like hard to see it that way.
Yeah, it's more meant to be as a form to like just I guess, and to kind of feel better, or just like to it's the experience. It's about the experience.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is that the West kind of tends to spice it up in some of their maid cafes.
Yeah.
But I know for sure that in the maid cafe that we both worked in, we avoided that at all costs, and we wanted to stick to what was the traditional way of doing it as it was in Japan. So yeah, we did not do naughty stuff. So
respectful.
Yeah, we were respectful. We were family friendly.
And I guess this is a good way to introduce of how we got into this whole maid and butler thing, because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, well, how the heck do you become a maid and butler and stuff like that?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Get a boss, you start serving them tea.
You might as well. But basically, for us, or for me, here, I guess I'll start with my experience, since I've been in a maid cafe for like 3 years, and I think how long have you been in a maid cafe, Amaru?
It's been, I think, about like, it was about a year and like a few months.
Yeah, so I guess that makes me more experienced and to that stuff. But basically, I kind of started when the maid cafe I worked for started getting people together and actually starting to get everything together to actually do the whole maid cafe stuff. So I was at the very beginning of the maid cafe that formed, and basically the way they did it is they recruited people by putting up flyers and stuff like that at like colleges and stuff. And at the time I was in college, Ivy Tech. For those who don't know what college that is, it's fine, you don't worry about it. But basically they had like a flyer hanging around the college campus. So just imagine how weird that is, like seeing a little flyer. It's like, oh, you want to be a maid or butler, or do you like anime and that kind of stuff? So
a little dance.
Yeah.
Get some cash money.
Yeah, no kidding. You know what? I should have just taken the whole poster and saved it, so I could have like had a keepsakes or something. But
in your kid when you grow up.
Yeah, but basically, at the time I worked at this bookstore, or my college campus bookstore, where we sold overpriced textbooks to students who are gullible enough to buy it off of us. So just speaking the truth, just saying. But beside the bookstore, we had like this bulletin thing where people usually put their ads or something of like, oh, I want to buy my textbook or whatever call this number or whatever. And I don't know where I was looking at that during lunch break, and I saw the poster of Maid Cafe and stuff. Like, I didn't really know exactly everything about a Maid Cafe, but I knew enough where it has associate with like anime and manga and that kind of stuff. And within that poster, it said something about like traveling and that kind of stuff. And I was like, ooh, this is pretty interesting. So I took one of the little paper foldy thingies. You know how they cut it up and so you can rip it off.
Oh, the little paper thing. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So I took one of those and went to the website and applied to become a butler and stuff. At first my mentality was like, oh, this should be pretty funny. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to be hired as a butler or whatever, but this should be pretty interesting just to see. Because I was this close to say, oh, nah, forget it. I'm not going to do it. But then I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to do it. Whatever. So I decided to apply for it. And lo and behold, like, I believe that same week, like probably like 4 days later or something like that, I got an email from them saying, though, oh, you've been accepted to be a butler and stuff like that. And I'm like, wait, what? What? I don't know. That's how I got recruited. A lot of Maid Cafes usually use, like, I guess, Google Forms or whatever and have you sign up for it and stuff. So if anybody is interested in becoming a maid or butler, I guess a lot of times you could probably go to their Instagram and they'll post links about, oh, they need blah, 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 whatever. But that's how I started. And it was kind of weird because they didn't really have like a location to where
oh my god.
yeah. Maru knows it very well.
That's like really shady and unofficial. Like I would be scared to sign up for this job.
How come?
Oh,
Because like they get you to sign up over Google Forms or email or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem trustworthy for one. That seems like some sort of internet scam. And then they don't have an actual location.
Yeah.
So, like, come to this address and it's just someone's house.
Dude, you have no idea. Okay. This is what. Okay, you have no idea. Okay, so basically, Ducky, my first interview with our people was like through the phone, right? So I just talked to them on the phone with the main guy who was a head butler at the time. There's a lot of tea that's going on behind him and other people, but that'll be later on. But basically, I talked to him, and he just asked me general questions of, do you know what a Maid Cafe is and blah blah blah, and why do you want to do this? And I just told him like, well, I like anime and stuff like that, so I think it'd be pretty interesting. And he told me that to meet him up at a Starbucks to like do a face-to-face interview kind of thing. So that's kind of like weird for me because I've never done an interview where I had to go to a Starbucks or that kind of stuff
Instead of like an office.
Yeah. Because I thought that they were like an official establishment or anything, but at that time I didn't know that they weren't an actual business because they didn't really register as a business until like way later on. So, but I didn't really mind it that much. I guess I didn't really like, looked into it too much. So, but I still went along with it because it was Starbucks and it was public. So I was like, I guess I should try it.
Okay,
They can't steal your kidneys if you're in Starbucks.
Yeah, basically. And the funny thing is, I remember like going to this interview and I was like all dressed up and stuff like that with like my dress shirt and all that kind of. He was just in a shirt and stuff.
Oh my god!
So I was well overdressed and and later I would find out that he's not the kind of person that I thought he was, because you would think that the main person would be like professional, that kind of stuff looking, but not really. But it's totally understandable because the guy was like the same age as I was, which is like 24 at the time. So he was very, I guess, one of those chillax people, I guess.
Whenever you're in a situation with a butler, the head butler has to have grey or white hair, a beard and mustache, and wear glasses. while having those same big wrinkles on his forehead and being really grumpy.
Right.
I once had a job interview similar like that over the phone, but this is a really fun story. So I was in my first year of sixth form, which is like when you're 16, like after you finish high school, you can either go to college, sixth form, or work.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose sixth form, which is like college in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And after 1 year, I was like, I'm not feeling this. I'm going to get a job. So I found like apprenticeships so I could work while learning. And there was one at a call center in a place like an hour away, so I'd have to go by train every morning, then walk to the place. So I phoned up like, hey, I'm interested in this job. They're like, sure, we'll phone you for an interview tomorrow. So the phone call came through. And I didn't pick up. Like, I just watched the phone ring off.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared. So I just let the phone call disappear.
Wow.
Now I don't work in a call center. That's what the job was. The job was working in a call center on like customer support.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, bruh? You didn't even.
I didn't think it was like I thought it was working in a shop helping customers.
Wow.
Anyway, Maid cafes.
Yeah, that's basically my experience with like joining a cafe or the cafe that I was, which is kind of like you said, Ducky. It was kind of sketchy, but I was like,
do you think it was quite amateurish when you like first?
Yeah. I expected a lot, but I guess they, didn't really
expected a lot, and you got a little.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I don't know that. Then from then on, I guess well, the thing is that when I joined, the meeting place was at somebody's house, so.
Yikes.
Right. I was very skeptical. I can't even say anything. Yeah, that word. But the thing is that it didn't seem as shady as I thought it would be, because the house that they held the meetings at was this really suburban place with a 2-story house, and the house was like big and stuff. So it was like, dang, this is really fancy. Like rich people live here, so kind of fancy.
Look at you, I didn't get that experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you explain your experience, but basically that was my experience when I first joined. And basically within the basement of that house, which is floored with like, carpet and stuff, which is fine.
That's not that posh.
Yeah. So that's basically that's basically where we were meeting at. But the funny thing is that the head person of this cafe, as well as the head maid, where she was like the CEO or whatever, they didn't own the house. It was a house from one of the butlers, which was an assistant head.
That's weird.
Yeah, so they were using their that assistant head's parents' house to host the meetings and stuff.
Their parents' house.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But yeah, that's basically my experience. I'll let Maru explain her experience.
Oh boy. Okay. So.
Oh boy, here we go.
I don't even know where to begin, honestly. I found the cafe, like I previously mentioned. I was working at a convention, and I actually ended up stumbling upon, I think 1 maid, 2 butlers, I think, from that same cafe that he was working in. And personally, for me, I thought they looked really cute. Like the maid, her outfit was adorable and everything. And like I was like, wow, these people look pretty cool, and like they definitely look like they're like professionals and stuff. And like I don't know. And like I was working with this older woman, and she was like so excited. And she was like, "Oh, what are you guys cosplaying and all that?" And she was like, "Oh, we're not cosplayers. We're actually from a maid cafe." And I was like, "A maid cafe? What? Like, what? I don't know. I've never been to a maid cafe." And so she was like, "Oh yeah, we're located here, here in the convention and blah blah blah." And she was like, "You should go check us out if you can." And I was actually planning to go check it out, but unfortunately I couldn't because by the time I got off of my shift, the con was already over. So there wasn't really much left to do afterwards, and you guys would have already been gone. So I decided that well, they walked away, and I was like, you know what, I'm interested in being a part of this cafe. So I actually like told the older woman, I was like, hey, stay here, like, can you like watch this while I go find them? And she was like, yeah, sure, take your time. And I was like, okay, cool. So I did. I like ran off and like I tried to trace their steps, but I couldn't. I completely lost them. And I was like, no, this was like my only chance to like find them. Actually, and funny thing with that, the guy that I saw walking with the other two people, I I called them by their actual name because they were in the same class as me in college. So I was like, wait, you're so and so. You were in my college class, and they like kind of froze, and they're like, no. And, like I swear, I feel like I just caught them red-handed.
Yeah, so to explain that, basically, as a butler and maid, we were taught not to acknowledge our real self, like our actual names and stuff. So if somebody would ask us, "Hey, are you that person?" or "Is your name whatever?" and we were taught like to play dumb, basically.
Yeah, basically, if you were like present in your uniform and anything like that, you weren't allowed to be your normal self. You had to stay in character, pretty much.
They all got code names like Joker and Fox and I can't remember the other, Skull and whatever the other.
Technically, yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, basically, our butler and maid names are basically that. Yeah.
It's like Tokyo Mew.
Bruh, yeah.
I mean, they do work in a maid cafe in that show. Anyway.
But, yeah, pretty much that's how it was. Yeah, he like, I don't know. I felt so like ashamed because I thought it was like, oh, well, maybe I got the wrong person or something. I was like, and then I told him, I was like, oh, you just look so like alike to the person that was in my class. And that's like, funny. He was silent the whole time. And I was like, well, if I see him at school again, I'll let him know that I saw his doppelganger. It wasn't until later on that I found out that he was actually that person. I was like, oh shit, I just like did that while he was in his uniform and stuff. So it's hilarious to me. But
Superman figured out it was Clark Kent and then
dude, yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I feel like I stumbled upon the greatest thing. But yeah, so I tried looking for them after like during the con and stuff, but I did lose them, so I didn't figure out like what the name of the cafe was, and like I forgot where they were located. So I was like, oops. But yeah, it wasn't after I finished working at that convention, like I think a few months passed, and that was like I think November when they announced that they were looking for maids and butlers. So I thought to myself, I was like, this looks familiar. Like I feel like I've seen like this person before. And like I went to their Instagram and I was scrolling down and I saw the same person, the guy who was in my class, and I was like, this is those same people that were at the convention. So then I was like, oh, and they're hiring. And I didn't even know that they were located in the same place that I live. So I thought to myself, well, okay, well maybe I could try it out and stuff. And I was kind of debating on whether or not to do it. Yeah, I was gonna join it as a joke, and I was like, I don't know. It was kind of just being dumb, and then I realized, well, I mean, it would be cool to join a maid cafe because, well, I could meet new people, make new friends, and all that stuff. And during that time, I wanted to really get out of my like comfort zone and really like socialize more. So I thought, well, I guess a maid cafe can do so. And I kind of took a couple of days to kind of like think about it, and I didn't end up applying till like later on in the month and stuff. And when I did, I thought to myself, oh, the kind of the same thing as Jay. I thought to myself, oh, I'm probably not even gonna get accepted or anything. Like I'll probably like not hear back from them or something. They probably have like a ton of like applications or something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and like they got back to me within like a few days, and they're like, oh, like you were like accepted or something like that, like, or like could like we could no, they didn't tell me straight up that I got accepted. They just said that they wanted to have an interview with me at a Starbucks as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, yeah, I don't know, like them and their Starbucks, right? Anyways, but yeah, I told my mom, and I was like, oh, you know, I applied for this thing, and they said to meet up at a Starbucks. And so she was like, okay, well, I can take you and stuff like that, and we can head over to like the mall afterwards or something like that. And we looked at where it was, and she was like, why is it like all the way over there? And I was like, She
Wait,
was like, don't they have like,
is this
what?
one in Broad Ripple?
It was
Is that sounds like a really fantasy place. Is that a real place? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's this
We need to go there
hipster.
someday.
Yeah, it's a
We need to go
hipster
there.
little part of town.
It was, for me, it was the one that was near the mall in like Keystone Mall, I think it was.
Oh,
So some,
okay.
like, D&D places.
Yeah, welcome to America.
They sound cool maybe to you, but they're actually pretty crusty stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I went to the Starbucks, and my mom asked me why so far, and I was like, I don't know. She was like, don't they have like this like, you know, studio or place where they do like their interviews? And I was like, I don't know,
Nope.
maybe. See, I didn't know this at first. I was like, I don't know, maybe they don't have like something nice for an interview. So maybe they're doing it at, you know, at a Starbucks because maybe it's nicer. Maybe they're like, you know, before they allow anyone to go in, maybe they want to get to know the person before they go into like this secret area where they do their.
Were you doing that thing to your parents where you really wanted to do this, so you try to make up or you know, make the situation lighter by trying to convey, oh yeah, maybe it's just this or that, so don't worry about it, just so you can join.
Okay. Yes. So basically, like, my parents are pretty protective of me and stuff, so they don't want me to just like, you know, go somewhere sketchy. So yeah, I try to line up the situation by saying things like that. And I wanted to wear something nice for this interview, so I just, you know, wore a nice little shirt with a little collar and little bow tie or whatever. Well, not a bow tie like that, but, you know, a little bow. And jeans, black jeans and all that stuff. And I ended up going to this interview, and that's where I saw two of the maids. It was the head and I think the assistant. So they were both there, and I felt pretty underdressed because they both looked so cute, and I was like, well, shiz, I look like trash. Like, I'm Huh?
Were they in their uniforms?
Wait, what happened?
No.
Like, were they in their... Okay.
The
so
butler made uniforms? No, they weren't.
Okay.
They were just in casual wear, like my interview where the guy was just wearing a shirt and stuff.
They weren't wearing their uniforms. They were just in like their like normal clothes.
Okay.
But yeah, and like we did the interview and stuff, and like I thought, okay, they look really presentable and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, so I guess everyone else is probably like that too. Like they're really like, you know, making it look nice. And we did the interview. They asked me what my favorite anime was, what shows I was into, what my favorite, like, I don't know, favorite show. Just a bunch of like weeb questions, and basically like how I found out about them, and like what I was looking forward to in a maid cafe, and like what I was like kind of like searching for, as well as being a part of the cafe, which for me was like traveling and like making new friends and stuff like that, and just kind of like doing the experience. And the conversation later on kind of like I guess the interview kind of was starting to end and stuff, so it was kind of like awkward-ish. But like and I thought like, okay, like cuz usually in an interview, like when you're doing that, you tend to like get up with the person who interviewed you and you shake hands and then you leave, right?
No, I don't know. I've never had a job interview.
Oh, oof. Well, usually, like from my experiences, like usually in an interview, you like both get up, you shake hands, and you say, "Oh, it was a pleasure to meet you," blah blah blah. Like, and there's like follow up questions or whatever, and then you like leave. And it was awkward because they said the interview was over, and I was like, "Oh, okay," and I was expecting them to get up as well and to shake my hand or something, but they didn't. They just stayed seated the whole time. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go now. And like I got up, grabbed my stuff. It was so awkward because they were still sitting there, and I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna go. So, and like I don't know, like that part kind of threw me off because I was like expecting them to be like, I guess, more professional in the ending part, and to actually like like be like like an interview, but they weren't. So I was like, okay. And then they said I would probably hear back from them like within a few days or a week. So I said, okay, cool. And yeah, like about within a week or something, or 2 weeks or whatever, I don't know. I ended up getting an email from them saying that I got accepted and stuff like that, and that they were going to send me the address to the place. And I said, okay, cool. And it was coming up to my training day and stuff like that. And they still didn't send me the address. So I had to email them asking them for it. And then like, they're like, oh, just message this person. I was like, bro. So I did. And then like they sent me the address, and I looked it up on my phone because usually I look it up so that I know where I'm going and what roads are going to be taken and all of that. And freaking, I looked at the pictures, and it was a freaking apartment, bruh.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I
Okay.
thought,
So
okay, if maybe it's like a little like studio space within the apartments, because some apartments have those things where you can have like the gym and the studio and all that.
yeah. So like
Sounds
the thing
Yeah.
about that, I can explain that part. So basically, they decided that we couldn't use because they apparently moved to a new apartment, which is much bigger and stuff. I guess it only has like 2 rooms in this that are on the other side of each other, and in the middle is the living space or whatever. But basically, they're like, oh well, we just got this new apartment, so now we can like do our practice stuff in this apartment instead of relying on our assistant butler's parents' house and stuff. So they decided to move it to their apartment, their personal apartment. But the thing is that their apartment is in a sketchy neighborhood at the very
Bruh,
back of the
kidding.
apartment complex. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of like ghetto-ish in a way.
What do they mean
Yeah.
practice stuff? Like, do you have to practice serving tea?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well,
So,
I didn't get practice in that.
yeah,
That
but
sounds really
The
weird.
maids
like,
don't really do that.
but
At least for us.
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to explain that part.
No, you're fine. But yeah, so like, it didn't help that the apartment, like you said, it was in the back of the complex thingy. It was like in the corner of it. So like oh my goodness gracious, I still remember my parents driving me, my dad driving me, and he got mad at me. He was like, "Why didn't you tell me where it was and all of that? Like this is like sketchy and blah blah blah. Like you don't even know these people. Like, are you sure this is the right place and all that kind of stuff?" And I was like, "Oh my goodness, I know this looks sketchy, but I couldn't like if I told you otherwise, you would have said no." So I had to kind of lie to them in order to actually do this. But yeah, basically my dad left angry and he said, "Okay, fine. I'll pick you up like whenever you're ready or whatever, or like tell me the time." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So then I got there, and since I wasn't part of the official like group yet, I did trainings in the morning while everyone had their meetings in the afternoon. So I didn't really get to meet anyone much until like later on.
Mhm.
And I got there and it was I knocked on this door and I thought, okay, well maybe it's kind of weird and sketchy on the outside, but maybe it's nicer on the inside. Boy, was I wrong. I was disgusted, okay? Disgusted, I tell you. Freaking they open up the door and there's freaking trash everywhere on the ground. It was the crustiest place I've ever seen. And my room's usually crusty, but this was really crusty, okay? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like I thought like how the heck are they going to have training in here when there's trash literally everywhere? You can't see the floor, bruh. Like it was oh my goodness, it was just really sucky.
Yeah, it goes to show that what kind of organization they had in terms of Maid Cafe, because there's some people that are like very organized and you can tell just by their how they live, and they weren't like the best organized people. So I'm sure that
Yeah,
it kind of gave us that impression.
Well,
For me, when I started it, it didn't give me that impression at all because they were at somebody else's house, so I didn't know they were like that until I started practicing at their place. But you got it firsthand, basically.
yeah, the freaking oh my god, it was horrible. I was like, I tried so hard not to make like a disgusted face because I didn't want them to know that I was disgusted by how they're living. And I was like, dang, bro, like I literally thought that these people were like professional and everything because they look so nice and neat at the interview. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, they look like they're well like maintained people. Freaking, I don't know, man. I don't know what went wrong. It just went wrong though. And
it's so unprofessional. I hate it. Like I don't.
yeah, it was honestly, it was pretty crusty.
Mhm.
And like I tried them so hard. They were like, "Oh, you can take off your shoes." I was like, "I don't want to take off my shoes. I don't know what I'm gonna step on." But yeah, it's just like, and it sucked because not only was the living room like that, the bedroom was also like that,
Mhm.
and it was pretty crusty.
So like after the training, when you had like your first, I don't know what you referred them to, events, jobs. When you had like your first one of that, what was that like?
Oh, okay. Here, let me explain before what happened before our events. And Maru, I don't think she knows about this yet because I don't think I've explained this to her before or told her how my experience was when I first joined and
Being kind of weird.
like the whole process before getting to our first ever event as a Maid Cafe, right? So basically, the way it worked is before it kind of went downhill, the whole Maid Cafe thing. We had to follow this thing called the Maid Bible and Butler Bible. Basically, each maid and butler had this quote unquote Bible that we had to follow, which was written by the head butler and the head maid, which were like the CEO and or the owners of the cafe, right? And basically, we had to follow that, and within that, it showed, etiquette, posture, how to bow, because since it's Japanese Maid Cafe inspired thing, we had to actually bow, and we have to learn the bows like 45 degree, 15 degree, bow and that kind of stuff for like
90
different
degrees. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, for like different
180 degrees.
Bruh. It's funny because we would always make jokes like that, like, oh, let's just do a 180 degree bow and stuff like that, which was pretty. It was kind of one of the inside joke stuff, but yeah, basically we had to like memorize all this stuff as well as like surnames, for example. You know, how in Japan they call senpai, san, chan, you know, that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff. Yeah. So we had to remember what honorifics I believe what they're called.
Yeah.
We had to remember that and how to address our guests, or aka Goshijin sama. You probably heard that word a lot. Ducky, you probably heard it in like video games and stuff like that. I don't know. Or master.
I heard it in an adult film once, and that's it.
Bruh. So basically, in Japan, that translates to master. When quote your master comes into your you know, cafe, you say good morning, good afternoon, or welcome, Goshijin sama, and that's basically what we had to say every time and address them by that. So if the guest was like a gender neutral kind of person, instead of saying he or she, we would just refer to them Goshijin sama to avoid, you know, offending them and that kind of stuff. But which, funny enough, I do have a story about that. I almost like triggered somebody really hard, which was difficult, but that's a different thing. But anyway, basically, we had to go by this Bible thing that they wrote, and the maids had it really hard because since they're the main focus of the whole cafe, the head maid of the whole cafe, or the owner, she was very hardcore and very strict to that kind of stuff. Well, the head butler was like this guy who was like very
aloof.
Yeah.
Very...
Yeah, he was like that one boss who wants to be friends with employees, right? Yeah. It's like he wants to be cool with his employees, but it's really hard to be friends with him because, you know, his girlfriend is the owner of the cafe and that kind of stuff, and he's the one paying us to like do all these events. So it's kind of hard to like be friends with him when you have to kind of fake laugh it, or like, you know, pretend like you enjoy,
you know, it would really suck if you heard this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like it kind of was like that at the beginning, but I actually do like him as a person, even though he made a lot of mistakes later on in the cafe. But as a person, he's pretty cool. I'm okay with him. But anyway, yeah, that's just basically how it went. So the butlers had a more loose, relaxed environment, which is cool, which I liked because I didn't have to like, because he was very, you know, responsive to what I wanted. And like, if, for example, if I had an issue or something, he would like, you know, address it and stuff to the owner, which she was like very strict and stuff, which I could never get close to her as a friend or anything like that because she's just, I don't know, very cold. Yeah. But
it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
She was pretty cold. I know sometimes she kind of like was I know one time she kind of like, you know, said, was like, oh, thanks for the invitation, guys, because we hung out without her. And she just kind of like left that message for us on a picture we posted, and it was like, oh. Oops.
Yeah, you can tell she was really salty about it.
Yeah, she was.
Even though she was like unapproachable.
Yeah, it was just too hard to actually like get to know her and stuff. It was, and like you couldn't like send memes to her or anything because like most of it was just cafe based.
Yeah. The kind of jokes she would tell were like stuff like that has to do with cafes or like roasting other competitive or other, you know, cafes and stuff. Yeah, and it wasn't really that funny because I was like, can we just not talk about the cafe for 1 second?
Yeah,
and actually...
It's like that Shrek meme where he's in the carriage. Over there yet? Can you stop asking if we're there yet? For 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why I feel sorry for the maids, because like I feel like the maids didn't really have the party side vibe in terms
Dude,
of.
oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, we did not.
Yeah, so they got like hammered down very hard when it came to like training and stuff. And this is where I get into it, like before the cons and stuff. When we started doing training and stuff, and it was like hardcore training. Like we would meet up every Sunday at this suburban house or whatever, which I told you before. It was like the assistant head's parents' house, and in the basement there was like a lot of room and stuff like that. So we would like train our like dance and stuff, practice our dancing, as well as like practice our mannerism and stuff like that, and practice like being a table butler and like serving and how we should say and present ourselves, and we would do all these strange activities. For example, like just these little I guess teamwork games or whatever to like make us like break the ice and like know each other well, I guess. I don't know. For me it was awkward because I was an introvert, so I was never used to it, that kind of stuff. So it took me a while before I was able to open up and stuff. But that's the kind of things we would do to prep up for the cons and stuff. And
teamwork makes the dream work.
yeah, essentially, yeah. And that was like a Sunday thing basis, so it was every Sunday. They would get mad at you if you missed a meeting. But if you told them ahead of time, they're pretty like laid back about that stuff. But that was before it went downhill, and like when Maru joined, that at that point that was like they didn't really care about that stuff anymore. But they still they still expected the old people or the veteran members of the Maid Cafe who first joined to uphold that standard, which is BS in my opinion. So I'm kind of mad about that. I'm very salty about that kind of stuff. But basically, and the thing is, they would also have us take a test, like an actual test, a written paper test, exam and stuff about these mannerisms that we learned throughout the session. Because these training stuff would go on for like, for me, it took about 3 to 4 months or something of training every Sunday to be certified as a quote unquote butler or whatever.
Yeah, see with that, like it like that's what they had told me at the interview too.
Mm-hmm.
They made an exception for me because they said that they wanted me to join the cafe in time for the next con, for the first con, which was in February. So I had about like 2 months to basically do all of this.
Yeah, and basically, usually it's supposed to take like about 4 to 6 months to like fully train yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they basically crammed it all in for her because at that time, when we were doing those cons and stuff, which when she joined, we were doing like the big cons and stuff where it had like over 20,000 people attending, that kind of stuff. And they were pretty much desperate for more people, so they just crammed in her stuff. My
training.
Yeah, but technically she was already certified, and whether she passed it or barely passed it, she would still I'm pretty sure she would still be part of it because they were that desperate for like maids and stuff. So, stuff. But anyways, yeah, that's basically what it was for me when I joined. I had to do an extensive training just to be part of this cafe, while other people later on didn't have to do that, and they were like way later after Maru joined. They're new people, and they were kind of like
it was slacked. It was just like.
Yeah, at that point, they didn't care at all. They're like, oh, okay, you can join, whatever. You can serve. And for us, it took us months to train. So for me, you can kind of see where I would be kind of little...
mad about that.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's what I had to do to take the test and stuff. And once we pass the test, we get put in these rankings. Like, the very top ranking is head butler. Then second to the top is like assistant head, and then the third would be like first rank.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, first rank butler, and you would get your own pocket watch and stuff, which I did.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I passed my test with a flying colors, so I got a. Yeah, I actually got a pocket watch.
Do you still have it?
Yeah, I actually do. It's in my drawer, but it has my butler name and everything too, so it's pretty cool. But the thing is that because they did that every year, and if you didn't pass it the second year, you would be D-ranked. So yeah. But anyways, they would give us this test, and once we pass it, we would be put in these tier list of butlers or whatever. And the very bottom would be footman butler, which is just your basic, and below that is just your trainee butler, whatever, which we started as. Yeah. So after that, after you get certified and stuff, you start learning dances and stuff like that. And dancing, oh my god, it was hell, because it was like we had to learn like one dance, and it took us forever just to learn it. And
dude, we had to cram a dance for like the con and stuff. It sucked. We were expected to learn 3 different dances in one day.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy.
Yeah, but and the thing is that a lot of these maid cafes and stuff in Japan, they do not dance. A lot of them don't dance. They're just there to serve, right? There are only a couple of them that actually do dance, but when they do, it's only like 3 people in the whole group that actually dance. But for this cafe, the Americanized cafe or maid cafe or whatever, they want
everyone.
Yeah, no, like literally, they wanted everybody to dance, like everybody. And that was kind of dumb, because at the time I hated dancing, and it was like the worst thing ever. I dreaded every time we had to go do dance practice, because it sucked.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do you hate dancing?
Not really. Okay. Like after learning the main dance for the whole cafe stuff, I was like, okay, it's all right. It's not too bad. And it was pretty easy dance. Now, I guess I can say that now because I know it, but, it's whatever. But after learning all that dance and stuff, we then got ready for our cons and stuff. We would talk about, 2 weeks before the con, we would start talking about what rooms we would get and all that kind of stuff, in terms of where we're going to stay and how accommodations would work and stuff like that. And the cool thing about being part of the Maid Cafe, this is like the only cool thing, and they do advertise this, as you get to travel for free. So when you go to these cons, they rent the van for you. You don't have to pay for gas or any of that kind of stuff. The only thing you do have to pay, though, is for food and stuff when you're at the con, or if you want to buy your own merch and stuff, or not merch, but if you want to buy, anime stuff at vendor halls and stuff in con, you have to pay for yourself, obviously. So that's the only thing you would have to pay. If you don't have to spend a dime if you don't want to. But the thing is, at the very beginning, like the first 4 cons, I believe, the first year of being a Maid Cafe, we didn't get paid. We did this out of our own will. So we put in hard work just to be where we are at, and which is fine, because it's an experience, right? We got to go to a con. Mm-hmm. But oh boy! But little did we know that going to the con and stuff was hard work. Like it was pretty bad. But the first con we ever went to was in the small town within my state, and basically it was pretty crusty for what it is. I was excited though, because it was my first con, not first con I've been to, but like my first con as a butler and that stuff. And we were like super etiquette-ish mode, where we would be like talk in a way that we were like butlers and stuff. Even outside of our Maid Cafe area, we would like be in our persona. That's what we called it, our persona.
Nice.
Right. And this is what I meant when you said, Ducky, that like we're kind of like persona. Yeah. Technically, that was kind of how it worked. And we would just be in this persona, our own butler persona, as we would like to say. And that's basically what we did. We were like very top notch and fancy about everything. We wouldn't like eat in front of people. We wouldn't talk badly or joke around or anything. We were like have our back straight up and stuff, and walked in like a single file line and that stuff throughout the con, and escorted the maids and stuff, because we had a rule where we can't let a maid go by themselves to anywhere without an escort, which was one of the butlers or something like that. But little behold, they kind of broke that rule way later on after the whole thing started going downhill. But yeah, that was pretty much our first con. Just basically that. A lot of people actually liked us. I was really hyped about it because, you know, a lot of people liked us. And at that point, I was like, okay, this is pretty fun because of the people around me. And if it wasn't for the people who joined the cafe with me as well, I probably wouldn't even be there after a year. But because of the people who was around me, and after the whole Maid Cafe, we would like get out of our uniforms and like go out and enjoy ourselves at the con and just, you know, talk.
They would party.
Yeah.
Lit.
Yeah. Well, some people actually did get lit, but
Yeah.
Set
but
themselves on fire.
Huh?
Like they set themselves on fire.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Totally.
That's exactly what happened.
I knew that was an American thing.
Yeah. But yeah, after that, it was basically your typical con thing, what you would do, just go to panels and that kind of stuff, enjoy yourself. The awesome thing about it was like, you know, it's free for us, so we didn't have to pay for rooms or anything like that because the con provided it for us, and a lot of the times the rooms were inside the con, so we literally just had to walk out and there's the con right there.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice.
It was convenient.
You don't need to pay for a room if you just stay in someone else's.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah.
I don't know. Cons are just like, they were just really fun at first when I joined. For me, first con, it was like wild, man. Like, I don't know, but there was also some kind of drama going on, and I had just joined too. I was like, Brett, why is this like starting? Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Basically, we had this problematic maid. She made food for us and drove. She had it in her car for 4 hours to this convention, and it was a cake, by the way, and it melted and stuff. And it basically, this person got upset because that happened, and she said nobody wanted to eat her cake, but that was in fact a lie because everyone was, you know, eating it and stuff. I don't know. She had a lot of moments where it was just like she just wanted to be alone, and actually me and another maid ended up getting locked out of her own room because of her. And basically we didn't know what to do because we were just like, okay, well, I mean, she's asleep. We ended up calling her on her phone. She did wake up because we heard the bathroom toilet flush.
What
And
if there was someone else in the room?
well, there was another maid in there, but she was asleep. And then but this person, she was sleeping on a what is it, like the inflatable mattress thingies?
Yeah, Maris, yeah.
And like basically she had it right by the door, which is in fact, you know, a fire hazard thing. But basically she had it by the door and we couldn't get in, so we ended up calling her, try to get in. She didn't answer a phone call, but we heard when she got up, because when she used the bathroom, you could hear the toilet flush.
Yeah.
And then she ended up going back to sleep and didn't even tell us that she moved the mattress. So we were both like, what the heck? So it took us a while. We kind of stood there and we kind of like were thinking about what to do. So we tried opening the door again, and we actually got in. But like I don't know, we were just kind of salty over the fact of how this person was acting towards us, because apparently she was very friendly towards the boys, but very like towards the boys, the guys, but like kind of iffy towards the girls. And I don't know, it was just kind of like some drama thing that kind of happened. And
yeah.
I don't know. She ended up leaving. In fact, she actually ended up making her own cafe.
Damn.
Yeah. And
what was the cake she made nice?
it was all right, I guess. It wasn't the best thing ever. But she got really mad when she brought the cake for everybody, and everybody was like didn't really want to eat it. So she made a big deal like, "Oh, well, I brought this cake for you all, and you're not gonna eat it," and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I was like, fuck, okay, fine, I'll try some. I ate it a little bit, and I was like, okay, it's fine for now. I'm not really a sweet person. I don't like sweets that much.
You're a very sweet person, Jay.
Oh yeah, totally. But I only tried a little bit. Then she said, "Oh, you're not gonna eat more," and it's like, bruh.
Yeah, so you're trying to make us fat.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to eat all this sweet. I want food. I don't want cake. And she got mad because of that. I was like, bruh, whatever. I'm done with you.
Yeah, it's just pretty petty person.
Yeah, we had some petty people in this cafe.
What about the guys? Were there any guys like that, or like problematic men?
No,
I mean we had some
actually
petty people, but
well, just one. But
yeah.
Other than that, the funny thing is that all the guys at this cafe were like probably the fun people. Like,
dude, I swear I was so mad about that.
Like you weren't one of the fun people.
Yeah, like so like it's funny because the con that Maru first joined. Yeah, the
minority.
Yeah, because all the like skin colored people were in one room, and it wasn't intentional because I told the head butler that I wanted to be in the same room with this other guy, and because he's really funny and stuff, and I always have a good time when at the con when he's like in the same room and stuff, because we would like not sleep until like 3 a.m. or something like that because it was that fun.
Is that a good thing when you're working?
It's it's fine.
Yeah, it's a con. You have to, I just wanted to have fun, but
okay.
But it was
great.
Yeah, it was probably one of the best cons I've ever been to, compared to all the previous cons I've been to, just because of the people in my room and stuff, and we were just having fun and like messing around and that kind of stuff. It was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so and we called it the minority group, the minority room, because literally everybody there could be considered a minority, and
it was a horrible coincidence.
Yeah, it was one of the inside jokes, but yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of from then on, from that point on, the whole cafe kind of started going downhill because of
a lot of people started leaving.
Yeah, people started quitting because of the main owner didn't really take any consideration into like breaks and stuff. And this goes back to what you said, Ducky, about like
human rights.
Yeah. They basically the owner wasn't considered about our feelings and what we wanted from this cafe, because when people started joining the cafe, they had the expectation that, oh, I'm doing this Maid cafe for like 4 hours or something a day, right? And to like, having a good time. Like, I don't mind doing that, like being a service person for like 4 hours and like serving the stuff and being cosplay or whatever. But no.
Yeah.
But no. Okay, so literally we would spend 7 to 8 hours, even up to 10 hours in the uniform, and just at one spot, actually like doing this stuff for like hours on end without a break. Maybe a 10-minute break if you're lucky. But a lot of people at the cafe didn't even get a break. Even probably the maids have it the worst because they're expected to be in the cafe at all times. The butlers were more loose because they, we're butlers. The whole thing is about maids, not butlers. So we could get away with like going out and having breaks and that kind of stuff, but the maids could not do that. Otherwise, the owner would be pissed.
Not leave at all, man. Like, we couldn't even move from our table to go get food or drinks or anything or even games because we were told that we were supposed to stay at our table all the time because we couldn't leave our basically customers alone at a table without someone there. And it actually sucked because like my first con I was supposed to have a partner. The head butler was supposed to be my partner for this, and he disappeared the whole entire time. And I was left alone. I was a newbie, okay? I had no idea what I was doing, and I was trying so hard to keep these people pleased and to, like, you know, have fun and stuff. But, like, a lot of times, I had a table in particular that,
Cut out again.
but they got bored quickly and they wanted a different game. And sometimes games were already being used by someone else. So I couldn't, like, and it sucked because I, say what? Did I cut off?
Yeah. Hello?
Hello.
Did I cut off?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Why is it every
Mari
time
said
I
a bad
talk?
word. I heard Mari say a bad word. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, wait, no. Why is it every time that I talk, it just does this?
Finally said a bad word. Yes.
I didn't even cut.
So you were saying your experience at the table.
Oh, yeah, so, like, my first con, the first con that I did, I was supposed to be with the head butler, but he ended up leaving for, like, most of the time, like, actually all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just an apprentice who was, like, you know, just getting there. Like, well, technically I was already a table maid, but, like, I was still a newbie because that was my first ever con that I ever did. And basically, like, he just left me there, and I couldn't leave to go get food, and I couldn't leave to go get drinks. I couldn't leave to get games. Technically, I wasn't allowed to do anything like that. But I had to do basically everything on my own because I had no one else to work with me. I had no one else to do that for me. So I basically was on my own handling this table. And I would go into the kitchen and to check up on food because, you know, sometimes my Goshijin sama were hungry and, you know, like they were ready to eat. And I apologized to them because we had like a moment where food was slow getting through. And I had to apologize to them and tell them, like, okay, well, hold on, let me go check how it's going. I would get into the kitchen, and the head maid would literally get mad at me for being in there in the first place. And I was like, well, you know, I need to make sure how this food is going because they're getting hungry. I have no one else. Like, I don't know where the heck your boyfriend is. Like, the head butler, like, he just left. He abandoned me. Like, how do you want me to not, you know, come in here asking where the food is and stuff like that when you guys aren't doing things correctly, when you're not telling your head butler that he should be working with me because, you know, that's what he was supposed to be doing in the first place.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that literally the way the whole session, that's what they're called, the sessions. They're like 1 hour long. So every hour block that we would like do have a group of people come in and stuff, and each table would have a maid and butler and stuff. And each table would consist of 10 people. So mind you, she was handling 10 people by herself, and she just started because the head butler was at the back. I'm pretty sure he was prepping food along with the head maid. And the funny thing, this is where it goes back all the way to organization. You could tell they were really sloppy with organizing stuff because literally they didn't think about or didn't have the audacity to like get people on to do the food themselves so they can be on the floor and handling stuff. So they were in the back just prepping food and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know.
Surely
usually
to have Maru as the person doing food since she was new.
Yeah. Like that did happen for one time. Like somebody started out in the cafe, started doing food, then they went into being a butler and that kind of stuff. But that it never occurred to them to do that. So they just pretty much just left her by herself with this group of table, and she had no idea what to do.
They actually did have people working on food in the back, but I don't know what the heck they were doing in the back. Keep this in mind. The head maid usually always stayed in the back. I usually never ever saw her up front with everyone or at a table. it was like really rare to see her even like doing the table stuff, but yet she'd still wear the maid outfit and things like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm pretty sure it's because she wanted to avoid actually like serving as a maid and stuff. So I'm pretty sure that's why she was in the back constantly. Because mind you, that doing this for like a long time, like 8 hours in a row, every day for 3 days, it can get kind of exhausting, and I would
Tiring. It's tiring.
Yeah, mentally tiring trying to talk to people and stuff, because I don't know, because it gets tiring. And for me personally, I try to come up with any excuse to go into the back of the kitchen just to like take a break from like socializing and trying to start conversation with these weebs and stuff who are the cons. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and like for me at least, my throat was killing me every single time. Because keep in mind, like you have to make also a different voice when doing your persona, because it's a completely different person from you. So you have to kind of give it its own personality.
Yeah,
I feel like I want to hear these voices, but I also don't. I'm scared,
bruh. I mean, if Mara wants to do it.
Shiz, man.
Did you not have to do a different one, Jay?
No, I didn't even bother with that stuff. Like I try to take the most laziest path ever. I was like, when you pick your persona, you can act differently and that kind of stuff. And I just told them that I'm just myself, basically, or I gave my persona attributes that is kind of on equal ground with my original personality. So basically, I could just act like myself and pretend like I don't care and that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I didn't change my voice, but there's some people that actually had to change their voices to be a little higher, especially the maids, because that's cute, whatever. So.
Yeah, pretty much. It hurt though. my poor throat.
And I believe it was either this con that when Maru joined, or it was the last con, the same con, but last year, that con was probably the worst con you could ever been to. Just imagine being at the con from starting at 11 in the morning and not being able to get a break at all, like at all, not even a 10-minute break, from 11 a.m. all the way to almost 9 p.m. And
Dude,
and still have to pick up everything in the room. And sometimes you might actually have a panel after that. That's a 1 hour long.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was horrible.
My feet was hurting because the shoes I had sucked, and they were like from Walmart. So yeah,
bruh. We had actually, like, I believe it was for the first con that I did. We ended up having a panel that was about, I think, 2 hours after we had finished our sessions.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to be in that uniform for 2 more hours without doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically had to like it was like 9 to like what? It was like till like 10 at night.
Probably.
And we didn't get off till 11, so
yeah,
just that really sucked, dude. That sucked.
Yeah, so not only were we exhausted from like standing up for almost 9+ hours every single day, almost every single day, mind you, for all the con. So this goes back to the thing where I told you where when we first thought that this con was going to be fun and stuff, or doing the Maid Cafe was going to be fun and stuff, because you could travel and go to all these different conventions and stuff. Oh boy, I was wrong. Most of the time you're just in one room and just for 9+ hours standing, talking to weebs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Sometimes it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was fun. Because you'd meet like pretty cool people and like pretty cool cosplays and all that. And occasions, I've had it to where like when I went back to that con, some people actually recognized me and would actually end up talking to me and be like, "Oh, hey, remember me? Like I was like here the year before and stuff like that." And they would actually like greet me and things like that. And also talking about that, you weren't, as a maid and butler, you weren't allowed to give hugs and stuff like that. So it was really difficult to like tell these people to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hug you," like it's just, it's part of our rules and stuff. Occasionally for me, like the second year around, like I kind of didn't really care as much anymore, and I was like, "Oh, well, I was just like I like these people are like people that they saw me last year, so I would be okay with giving hugs at least to the girls, because and like and yeah, I mean it wasn't bad or anything.
Yeah.
There were some pretty weird people too, so.
Oh yeah, like there's a lot of perverts trying to talk to the maids and stuff, so that's one of the reasons why they had a rule where a butler always has to be with the maid, because stuff like that happens at cons.
Yeah, we actually one of our maid friends, she ended up having this situation where Goshujin-sama asked her to click her feet together.
Yeah,
it was such a horrible experience for her, and she thinks that the guy probably had like a foot fetish or something.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
Yeah, you run into really weird situations, honestly.
Yeah.
And we also had some Goshujin-sama that didn't know what Goshujin-sama meant, so they would end up calling their maid or butler Goshujin-sama in return. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, what can you expect from like socially awkward weebs at an anime convention? So
are you speaking out of like experience?
Yeah. Yeah, technically, yeah. But that was at that time, that's when people got fed up with like everything because of the long hours without breaks and stuff. And that's one of the things where I touched on earlier about the head maid or the owner of the cafe didn't really understand us and how we wanted things to be run compared to how she wanted it to be run. Like, even though we told her we should be getting like 1 hour breaks or stuff, or like 2 hours in order to like enjoy ourselves during the con, when everything's open and stuff, so we can go to the vendors hall and just buy our anime merch or whatever. But no, she completely disregarded everything we ever told her, and she basically worked us to death, basically. And everybody was just pissed off about that kind of stuff. And a lot of the good people, like the awesome people that made this maid cafe like really fun, quit because she didn't take any of the feedback that we gave her. And I don't blame them at all. And I'm surprised. I was still with them for as long as did, even though all the awesome friends I've made doing this, they all quit. I was still part of it all the way to the end. I mean, they're still going right now, but I don't know.
They're still going on, but they're kind of dying, so.
Yeah, technically.
Might as well just call them dead.
Do you think maybe one of the reasons you stayed so long is that you, as a person, no offense, are like more shy and like scared to speak out?
No, dude, no, bruh, no. No. Okay,
what I know of you, you're very shy.
Yeah, but
I mean, maybe, but if you have like in this cafe, you would have saw a different side.
Yeah. Okay, so
it was a new character.
Okay, so in the cafe, I was probably one, if not one of the most vocal persons at the cafe. Like, I organized this almost coup against the head maid at one point with this other butler. Yeah, dude, seriously, I had to go that far because she wouldn't listen to what we were saying. And I told her, me and this other butler, we were discussing about, we need to confront her about how she's running this stuff because it's literally making us exhausted, and this is the reason why this cafe is going to fail if you keep doing this, if you don't listen to us. So literally, I organized I guess a union kind of thing, the maid butler union. And we gathered around the table at one of the meetings and stuff, and we told her, we need to talk to you seriously. Like, we can't keep going on like this. The reason why everybody's quitting, we lost so many awesome people because you didn't listen to us. So you have to listen to us this time. So I was like sick and tired of her not listening to us because she was stubborn, because like, oh, it's my cafe, I do whatever I want with it, right? So I put my foot down. I told her, no, you need to give us breaks. We need time for ourselves during these cons, because that's the only reason why we joined, aside from the awesome people we got to meet. Otherwise, we're just gonna quit, and good luck finding new people. But basically, I was like fed up with everything. I kind of wish after Maru joined that I quit along with all the awesome people that joined as well. But
wow, you're just gonna abandon me like that?
Oof, no, not joined, but quit. I wish I would have quit earlier, or like during that moment when the whole thing started to go down, but I didn't, because I'm the kind of person that likes to give the benefit of a doubt and hoping that things will get better, and hope that they will listen. But no, nope. Not until the person, not until way later did things started to change a little bit better. But even then, it's already too late, and the damage was done. And everybody who made the cafe the funnest thing ever is already left. So that's the only thing. That's the only bad thing about that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was debating on like leaving as well when everyone started leaving, because I was like, well, I mean, like it felt like it definitely felt like the cafe was going downhill, and I felt kind of sad about that, because I thought, well, I just joined, like I literally missed out on everything else, and I don't know, and so that's why for me, I personally like stayed a little bit longer, because I told myself, well, at least I want to try to like, get some cons in and stuff, and then leave and stuff like that beforehand. Which I did. I got a few cons in, and I'm pretty glad that I stayed for the time that I did, because if not, I probably wouldn't be here. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it while it lasted, and do I miss it a little bit? Kind of, just because it was fun at first, but do I miss the rest? No, not really. Because no offense to the new people that joined, but it's just they're pretty boring, and they didn't really want to do anything afterwards. They mostly just went straight to their rooms and like went to bed. I'm like, dang, that's such an old person thing to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to enjoy these cons, but it's just hard to do it when they're not everyone's like, in the mood or as upgoing and upbeat. So
yeah,
it kind of sucked.
And the thing is that when I did the Maid Cafe, like literally the only reason why I stayed or kept going is because the people or the friends I've made within that cafe and the good times I've had with them. And literally they, at that point, after like the second year of being part of the cafe, that they were the only reason why I kept doing the Maid Cafe, just because of them, because they're fun people and I love just, being around them and all that kind of stuff. If it wasn't for them, I would have quit long time ago. But that's I guess that's just how it is, because at some point I've been to over, I don't know how many cons, probably like over 30 different cons throughout these 30
years.
30 yeah, bruh, 30 years. Yeah, it's been 30 years. But
almost 30 years.
but like throughout these 3 years I've been with this cafe, I've been to over 30 different cons, or somewhere close like that, and including like big humongous cons like ASIN and that kind of stuff. And as much as I love these cons and going there, the only reason why they're fun, I didn't realize this until way later, but I didn't. The only reason why they're fun is because you're with friends and you get to like hang out with them and like do dumb stuff and like party and all that kind of stuff. That's the only reason why I kept going within the Maid Cafe, because I met these incredible people along the way, and I don't regret any time I spent there with them. Except for the time I actually had to work during the hours, because that shit was boring and it was exhausting and I hated talking to people. Like, seriously,
You don't regret any of it except most of it.
yeah, except for the after hours. After the whole thing was over, then we got to party and do whatever we want. But other than that, like all the people within that cafe or that used to be part of the cafe were great. I love them to death. Like seriously, they're the most awesomest people ever. I still keep in touch with them, so that's good at least.
You
but
want to shout them out?
Yeah. Hey guys, for those of you who are listening to this, like I miss you guys. You guys are awesome. You made the cafe great. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't even be there. But yeah, I don't know. That's my take on it, at least.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Honestly, since they left and stuff, it did get pretty boring. Sort of. I mean, I tried keeping it alive, but I can't do it by myself, man.
Yeah.
Can't do it by myself.
Like at this point,
Yeah, man, it was so boring after they left. I was there the whole time. It was so boring,
bro. No, but like at that point, when the cool people started leaving, that's when everything kind of went downhill, and like, you know, I had doubts. So I don't know.
I mean, well, personally for me, I'm glad you stayed, though. So.
Yeah, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have met Mara. But
yeah, heck yeah.
I'm also glad you stayed, because if you hadn't stayed, Maru wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's one big good thing that happened. Yeah,
Maru is the only good thing that came out of that cafe.
Oh, well, thanks.
But yeah, I didn't really tell my parents. Well, my parents did know I did a cafe thing, but I didn't really explain it to them like in depth as to what I did. They did see me in like my uniform and stuff, but aside from the people within the cafe, I didn't really tell anybody outside of my the cafe group, because it was kind of embarrassing. Like telling them, "Oh, I'm a butler at this cringy cafe that likes to act all like
crusty cafe."
Yeah,
I remember before you like told anyone, like before anyone in the server knew about it, Brie and I came across the Instagram account for.
Dude, I have no idea how. My God, Instagram, Jesus Christ, dude, how the heck does that happen? That's so dumb.
Don't you follow your own account though?
No, I did not. The surprising thing.
I will say, Jay did a like fantastic job of hiding his personal account though. Like, damn, that was like he did a great job of hiding it, because there's nothing to say it's him. But the butler one is shoddily hidden.
Thank you. I try.
Very obvious.
I'm very good at that kind of stuff. But yeah, the butler thing was inevitable, I guess, at one point or another.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like the whole thing was fun. It was a great experience, but because of like drama and stuff that happened, which, you know, I could probably talk about that for another hour, but I'm not going to because it's going to be too long. But I don't know. At this point,
what do you think you would have done better if you were in charge of the cafe?
Dude, okay, so
like everything.
Okay, let me tell you this much though. At one point, I think it was like last year or something, I did confront the owner or the head maid, and I told her that I would give her money to be a part owner of the cafe, so I could get rights to say what to do with the cafe and stuff like that. So I can actually change the atmosphere and it not be as shitty as it became. But but at that point, it was kind of too late already because some other drama was going on. Like, I'm not going to get into that. But basically, I did offer her compensation to be like part owner of the cafe, so I can like actually do something good and not make this awesome cafe, in my opinion, that had potential, go downhill. Because mind you, we worked our asses off to get to these big cons and be invited to these big cons and stuff, but she saw it as her own thing, and because of that, it kind of went downhill. But if I could have done it differently, I would have like given everybody like breaks for sure. Like, at least I would have shortened the amount of time that Maid Cafe would have been running and charged people a little bit more just to make up for that cost. Because because the people weren't happy, even including me, because a lot of the time was spent at the cafe and we didn't actually got the time to explore and like hang out and like, you know, do fun stuff. So I would have changed that. I would have made the cafe hours a little shorter and charged the people a little bit more in order to, like, you know, compensate that.
Yeah, because like the quality of the cafe went downhill. Like if you don't treat your employees well enough, your quality is gonna go down, and that's basically what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just like later on they kind of didn't care who joined anymore. And I mean, I'm pretty sure they probably didn't care in the beginning, but like they definitely didn't care if like they got things right or not. So they just kind of hired whomever. And it just kind of went downhill. So
These are really good entrepreneurial tips. I understand this because I'm a businessman.
of course you are.
When I meet Jay, I'm gonna exchange business cards with him.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get my business cards ready and stuff. So yeah,
I'll
sounds
just have a
good.
piece of paper with my name on it.
Your name and number, but it's not actually a phone number. It's just like
Exactly.
4.
Exactly.
Essentially, yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
I was really scared when I said, "What would you do better?" Like, I was scared you were going to like turn to me and say something like "pay taxes" or something.
Oh,
yeah.
dude, speaking of that, oh my god. Okay, that's another thing. Okay, so the owner wasn't responsible enough because she wasn't. I don't know what's wrong with her, but she was like try to avoid that kind of stuff, like money. She was that kind of person that didn't like confrontation and that kind of stuff, because she was like, I guess, shy and introverted, and she mostly let her boyfriend take care of everything. But as far as I'm aware, because I wasn't part of the money thing, whatever, of that handled the money stuff, but I know for a fact because one of her friends that did join the cafe with us criticized her because of this, that she needs to give everybody in the cafe like a tax form that we have to receive if we work independently, so we can like put our taxes stuff. But she never did. She never did that. And I don't think she ever. She didn't really file any of her taxes. Maybe I might be wrong. She might have started doing that later on, but like at the beginning, as far as I'm aware of, she didn't do that. She just I don't know, didn't do any of that stuff, like the legal stuff, and like that goes into the thing where like she didn't make the company official, like registered company, until like I believe later that first year, until we started making money and stuff like that. At that point, I guess she decided to actually pay us to be part of the Maid Cafe instead of like volunteers, because at first, like I said, we were volunteers. Then they started to pay us. But it's not until then that she didn't really like, did the whole taxes stuff, which was kind of sketchy. I don't know.
There you go, guys. Pay taxes or people are gonna leave your Maid Cafe.
Yeah, it was
life advice.
Yeah, no kidding. It was kind of a weird situation because a lot of people were saying like, oh, because they didn't give us a proper break, a 30-minute break, which is supposed to be mandated by the U.S. law, that if you work over 7.5 hours, I believe, or something, you are obligated to take a 30-minute break. And the funny thing is, she never enforced that. Like, she would have us working through that 30-minute break, and we would never see a break ever.
Oh, we were so close to cussing.
Yeah, dude, that was, oh my god, that was.
Let it all out. Let it all out,
Bruh. No kidding.
Yeah, technically, yeah. If you work about 8 hours, you have to get at least a 30-minute break. If you work 5 hours, you have to have at least a 15-minute break. Which of both were not counted for, and we never really received any. So, yeah, there's that. There's a lot of legal problems that were, that we were put through.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that even though she didn't abide by those legal rules that you're supposed to follow when running a company, right? She would threaten old members or like people who left just because left saltily or something like that. She would threaten them that you can't use our if you use our name or whatever, you can't join another Maid Cafe after you leave or something like that. Well, I'm gonna sue you or that kind of stuff. She had.
Oh yeah, she said that our names belong to her for at least 2 years, and then like we're basically able to use them again or whatever. Joke's on her though. That name's been with me since my birth.
But yeah, that's just some of the legal implications. Even though she didn't follow any of the legal stuff that you're supposed to,
she's gonna put you in loads of legal trouble for this, guys. You're both gonna get.
Okay, I was telling Jay about this too. I was like, bro, if they find out, do you think we would get in trouble for this?
That's why I was a bit hesitant to talk about this.
I mean,
we didn't mention names or anything.
We didn't mention names or anything.
That's why I was telling Jay. I was like, don't really mention location because people might know.
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, that's basically what the whole thing came down to, and things just went downhill from there. And I just kind of like, stopped. Same with like Maru.
Yeah, I stopped first, and then I convinced him to stop. So I was like, let's just yeet this place because we both know it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
I mean, it had potential, but it went downhill really fast.
And
it's all the fault of the owner.
Yeah, like
essentially, yeah.
Yeah, because like they don't even like keep up with the cafe anymore as much. And like, funny thing is, they had a server so we could communicate, and they freaking kicked me out, but kept Jay in. And I'm like, bro, he's not even in the cafe anymore.
It might be because I didn't really officially resign myself as a butler, so that could probably be it.
I guess, but that's pretty dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really go to any of the meetings or anything like that, but I should probably just officially tell them that, yeah, I'm done. But whatever.
Yeah.
If I get to it.
If you don't forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, that reminds me, one of our maid friends, she actually told me that she had resigned. And she said that the head maid had actually told her that she was allowed to keep her maid account running, and that she was like, if she ever wanted to join again, she would just have to take the test, and that was it.
Which is dumb because, it's like they kind of broke that test thing rule a long time ago, so it's kind of pointless at that point.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's just kind of desperate to get people and stuff. Right now, they currently have only
less than a handful, less than a handful of people.
No, but yeah, they have like one butler and the rest are maids. So
yeah,
not including head maid either. So.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing about these maid cafes and stuff in general, like in the US, is that a lot of these maid cafes, if anybody listening to this ever decides that they wanted to join a maid cafe, just be wary that this could be an experience that you might enjoy for a bit, but later on you're gonna find yourself that this isn't for you due to the fact that a drama between people, as well as like just legal stuff and just stuff like that, and you're going to find yourself like working your asses off and not having any fun doing it because, they're not going to give you time to like actually, do anything unless it's pure volunteer. Because at that point you have the right to say, oh, well, I don't want to work for these hours because I did this amount of hours or whatever, because, that's volunteer work, right? But if you find yourself doing it as a job, don't expect to have free time to enjoy the con itself. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's difficult when it's a job, and I mean, if it is a job, I don't know, depending maybe on how the person handles it, and maybe like how many people you have working within that group. Because if it's a lot of people, then you're most likely to probably get a break and stuff, maybe. But if it's a little bit amount of people, then you're most likely going to be working about the whole entire con and you won't really get to see anything. Just I would say keep that in mind. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it was fun. It was fun while it lasted, but it didn't last that long for me, so it's just, I guess it was fun for a while.
Yeah.
And I know there are the cafes that do the volunteer.
I don't know what I think of maid cafes now. Like, they sound like there are good sides and bad sides, and I would quite like to experience going to one. But
Mhm.
now that I know what it's like working for one, it sounds less appealing.
Yeah. I realized that this was kind of negative.
Hey Jay, when we go to a con together eventually, can we go to a maid cafe?
Yeah, sure. I'll take you to one.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, no problem, son.
Wow. I actually kind of do want to experience like a maid cafe because I've never actually experienced it as a guest, like a goshijin. I've only experienced it as actually like a maid and stuff.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to see the other side of it because I haven't seen that yet. I guess any maid cafes
I
that
looked
might
up,
listen to this could
I
let us
looked up UK maid cafes and it came up with some, and they just look really like cringe.
Yeah,
No offense, UK
do-
maid cafe.
We have some.
Let me send you a link.
Mhm. All right. But the maid cafes, yeah, they're pretty much cringe. That's why the good thing about the one we joined is they tried not to make it cringy, but eventually it did become cringy because it was kind of inevitable because people were weebs and they wanted some cringy names. So
Yeah, it becomes cringy, and it also becomes kind of memey because I know a lot that the head maid would kind of tell us is like, oh, don't do memes, don't do like that kind of memey stuff because we're trying to avoid that. We want to look professional, but in the end, we couldn't avoid it. It happened. And I think that's when, for me at least, I realized, oh yeah, no, we're definitely going downhill. I don't know if we'll be able to ever pick up I don't know if they'll be able to pick up the cafe and to actually bring it back to how it was, but that's going to take a while. And I think if things were handled much differently, then we wouldn't be in this situation. We might have gone on the edge of it, but I don't think we would have gone all the way how we have now. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna have they're gonna have a much more difficult time getting back up to how like things were and stuff, and especially recruiting people because where we live there's not really a lot of weebs. And it's hard to actually like find people who are weeby here since we're not very like our city isn't very like
infested with weeboos and stuff.
Yeah, it's infested with corn people and country people
and football. Yeah, I just
But
realized that we haven't really let Ducky talk at all. Oof.
I'm so sorry, Ducky.
It's okay. It's okay. There's not much for me to add on this episode. Next episode, it'll be all about me. Just
Wow.
Okay. What is your topic? Your topic's gonna be about ducks. How ducks?
Actually, can I prepare a 2-hour-long presentation on ducks?
I mean,
Wow.
I don't know, Jay.
I don't know, man.
I would be okay with it.
Wow.
I don't think anyone will.
I distinctly remember when I was in school. I can't remember how old I was. I was like 8 or 9. And shout out this kid during the talent show. This kid got up with a book of facts about birds, hung a poster up on the wall, and started reading the facts off the poster.
That's great.
Is that what you're gonna do?
No.
No. Oh, that's shameful. I was kind of expecting that. But okay.
I'm sorry. I don't have the time for that.
Yeah. Understandable. Did you have any questions about the whole of our experience or anything?
Yeah.
No. Not really.
Everything.
I've asked everything that I wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So.
Well,
yeah.
Based on what you heard, are you? I guess you're now having negative thoughts about the whole being a butler / maid.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I will always be your butler, but that's it.
Bruh.
Okay, whatever.
That is that butler is Seabury based on me, but that's it.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well,
I guess.
I mean, I feel bad for making this negative, but
I wouldn't say negative. I'd say it's more realistic than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at least with every place, there's like different environments and stuff. So for us, this is our experience. It was the greatest experience. Honestly, I don't regret any of it just because of the fact that I got to travel and meet awesome people. I met my girlfriend Maru here. So I wouldn't say it's the most negative thing. So, like, if you're looking, for those listening, if you're looking for like a great experience and just like meeting new people when everybody around you are not into anime and that kind of stuff, join a Maid Cafe or something, because literally everybody will 100% always be an anime fan or just enjoy the same interests as you, and you're gonna have the best experience ever and like so much fun. And like, don't do it forever, because we all grow up, we all have lives and stuff. Like, do it for like the first 3 years.
You're lying.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely say do it for a bit, but not forever.
Yeah.
It's not a forever thing. It's just for a moment.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good moment though.
Yeah, there are really good moments in it, and like, as negative as I kind of talked about the cafe I joined, I enjoyed every moment of it. I don't regret it at all. Like, I wish things were different, yes, but at some point or another, I would have to quit either way, because I have to move on with stuff and with life in general. So for those listening, if you ever get an opportunity to start one or join a cafe, I would go for it, just to have fun and like travel with your friends and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and like, especially also if you're like an introverted person, I think it would be a good opportunity to get to know people and to get a little bit out of your shell and to kind of just like socialize more and stuff. Because I know sometimes making friends is kind of hard, but I think I'm pretty glad, for me at least, because I want to make friends, so I joined the cafe, and I'm glad I did, because I got to meet some pretty cool people, and of course I got to meet Jay, and then from meeting Jay and being with this boy, I also ended up meeting Ducky, which he's one of my closest friends.
That reminds me.
Yes.
Congratulations on 1 year, guys.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure Mara already told you the really sappy message I sent her, but congratulations. You're both fantastic.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
And this is where everyone in the chat says happy anniversary. Yeah.
It just like include a little clapping thing.
Yeah.
But make sure it's like young people clapping and not like a normal audience.
Yeah.
Wow. Like kids clapping or whatever.
It's like a group of school children applauding.
Wow. Yeah. But yeah, I think this is a good place to stop the podcast and just like say our things and like do all that stuff. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, does anybody have anything else to say?
I don't think so. I think we covered it. I mean, for me, I'm good. So
yeah, same.
I think if anyone listening to this has any recommendations for guests, they should comment if it's on YouTube, or if it's on Spotify or anything else. They should email us. Jay, what's the email address?
You can email us at anipop.podcast@gmail.com.
Why so complicated, bro?
Because
it's a dot, Mario. It's so complicated.
Yeah.
Why the dot, man?
Because I just gonna take the whole thing.
Wow, that's pretty lame.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. You can email us. You can, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and stuff, and just email us or like message us through there if you have any suggestions and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I guess
don't be shy.
Yeah, just make sure to follow the subscribe. Follow us on Spotify and that kind of stuff.
Follow us on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. We're on that, I think. Apparently there's this Amazon Music thing where if you have Prime and you haven't used Amazon Music, you can get a £5 voucher by streaming a full track. Maybe that track could be out one of our episodes.
Oh, snap. Incentives. Look at that. Nice.
Ooh,
You're welcome, guys. Also, if you have any like questions, don't hesitate to contact us with those. It doesn't just have to be like guest ideas. If you want us to talk about something or anything, smack us with that in the emails.
Yeah. Yeah, all that good stuff, what Ducky said.
Give us feedback. Just don't go too far because there's only so much we can handle.
But we'll do our best. We'll do our best, though.
Yeah. But I guess that is episode
10?
Yeah, 10. Yeah, episode 10.
Nice. 10 episodes.
Episode 10 of the Anipop Podcast. I hope everybody I hope everybody got a little insight into what it's like to be a butler / maid cafe and stuff, and our experience. Yeah. And I hope you guys enjoy it. And make sure to stay tuned to our episode 11, which I don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but it's
stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, we're probably going to wing it again, maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's it, and I hope everybody has a great weekend / week and enjoy spooky month, which is season. Yeah. So
don't scare anyone too much.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Go with the fact that there's a Shrek yandere.
Oof.
Oh yeah, we should probably talk about that next time.
Next week.
Yeah. All right, guys. This has been Jaden Day Zero,
the Lucky Duelist,
and Maruitsuki.
And thanks for listening. Bye. See ya.
Bye.
That was the smoothest outro ever.